Hey 49er fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today we're going to give you the 10 most important players on the 49ers roster going into the 2020 season. We'll count them down from 10 all the way down to 1. Now, it's interesting how I made this list because some people are going to say, why'd you leave this guy out? Why'd you leave that guy's out? Importance to me is important for success going into the 2020 season, and that's why we're going from 10 all the way down to 1. So we'll start with number 10. It's Brandon AIYUK, who would not have made this list had not it been for the injuries to Richie James Jr. and obviously to DEEBO Samuel as well. The number 25 overall pick will have an elevated role in the 49ers offense, at least early on in the season, and he will be a big part of the 49ers passing attack, hopefully for many, many years to come. But his expectations just skyrocketed with DEEBO Samuel supposedly coming back in week 1, but not guaranteed to come back in week 1. So despite the fact he's a rookie, despite the fact that most rookie wide receivers don't play well their first year, most rookies don't play well their first year for that matter, I still think Brandon AIYUK makes this list because after AIYUK, you have Hurd, who didn't play at all last season with injuries. You have coming back Trent Taylor. You have Kendrick Bourne's inconsistency. The rest of the wide receiver group is very, very young. And even though AIYUK is young, he still is the most talented of the group minus DEEBO Samuel. So his expectations are high, and he really needs to come in and play very, very well early on to pick up the slack that is going to be left off, obviously, from hopefully a non-injured DEEBO Samuel who's back early but not guaranteed to be back early with the injury to his foot. Now, question for you guys here as we get rolling. Who is the most important 49er going into 2020? If you had to pick just one, and maybe it's on my list, maybe it's not, who is the most important 49er in 2020? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right, number 9 on this list. Let's go with Trent Williams. Now, I debated Trent Williams on here because how important is Trent Williams on an already very good offensive line? And then I realized he's actually very, very important. The left side of the offensive line is crucial not only to protect Jimmy Garoppolo, but to run the football as well. Despite the fact they traded for him, despite the fact he didn't play last year, there are a lot of question marks regarding in terms of, is he just going to be like a B-level talent? Is he going to be an A-level talent? Is he the best left tackle in the league? No one really knows. And so is he going to be an upgrade over Joe Staley? If he's an upgrade, and he's better than Joe Staley, that makes the offense all the more better, and he becomes all the more important in the 49er offense overall. I think he will be an upgrade. I think he will be absolutely fantastic, but the question mark remains here, and that's why he makes my list, because if he is great, and if he's fantastic, the O-line that was already fantastic last year becomes all the more better because you don't have an injured and old Joe Staley or a young and inexperienced Justin School playing left tackle. You have Trent Williams. So he's going to be number 9 on my list here as we go from 10 all the way down to 1. Now, before we keep going, be sure to click that notification bell down below because only like 20% of you guys have clicked the notification bell up to this point, up to the lifespan of this channel. So scroll down, click the notification bell. That way you guys can be notified whenever we drop new videos just like this here on the 49ers Report. Okay. Number 8, Fred Warner. He is crucially important to the 49ers in terms of defensive success because he's about to become one of the best young linebackers in the National Football League, if not already one of the best young linebackers in the NFL. He can go from being very, very good but not well known to being excellent and one of the household names that who's the best middle linebacker in the National Football League. He'll probably be a defensive captain. He'll probably be calling a lot of plays. He is going to be looked upon to be a huge leader on this defense, which has other leaders, right? I mean, they have Ward and they have Sherman and they have Armstead, but Fred Warner, as great as he is, still very young, will be asked a lot of this year. And hopefully, he balls out to the point that everyone goes, oh yeah, he's crucial to the 49ers' success. He's one of the best middle linebackers in the National Football League and is a part of one of the best linebacker cores in the entire National Football League. He is fantastic. I think he is very important, though. Even with Quan Alexander, even with Dre Greenlaw on this roster, I still think if you were to remove Fred Warner, the defense would be significantly better or maybe significantly worse. And so he goes in at number 8 on my top 10 players here for the 49ers, most important going into the 2020 season. Now, speaking of a lot of 49ers, most of their jerseys are on sale right now, up to 25% off. So if you like a player on this list, he's probably going to have a jersey on sale at chatsports.com/49jersey. Now, these jerseys are completely authentic, 100% NFL Nike, like the real deal stuff, not the knockoff stuff from overseas. They are real, they are authentic, so grab one right now, chatsports.com/49jersey. Most of them are up to 25% off. Number 7. I'm going to put RAHEEM MOSTERT here. I think MOSTERT is important to the 49ers' success going into 2020, and this one will probably be a little bit controversial because despite the fact he is the number 1 running back on the depth chart and he was fantastic in 2019, including the playoffs, he will still be featured more than the other running backs on this roster, right? Like, okay, well, we have Tevin Coleman, and we have Jerick McKinnon, and we have Jeff Wilson Jr., Thomas. Like, he's not that important. True, but Coleman was injury-prone last season. Jerick McKinnon has a completely restructured knee, and Jeff Wilson Jr. is the 4th running back competing for a slot on this depth chart. Not guaranteed he's actually going to be there because there are other running backs in terms of practice squad ability. So Mostert comes in here, one of the top rushing teams in the National Football League because of him. He needs to be healthy, he needs to dominate, and he needs to take that next step in order to continue the trend of the 49ers being a great zone running football team, because that creates the bootleg, that creates the play action, and that opens up hopefully DEEBO and AIYUK and obviously George Kittle on the outside, crossing the middle of the football field. That way Jimmy Garoppolo can find them for big gains. So Mostert is number 7, despite the fact that majority of running backs are undervalued in the National Football League. Mostert is undervalued, but at the same time, he is crucial right now for the 49ers' success. He comes into my list at number 7. Now, over-unders are fascinating to me going into the 2020 season. What is your over-under for RAHEEM Mostert? Let's put it at 8. Over-under 8 touchdowns for Mostert in 2020. Type O for over down below. Type U for under down below. I hope it's over, but I think right about 8 is probably the right place to put it, so let me know. Number 6 could also be controversial because I'm going to say Emmanuel Moseley, and you'll notice Richard Sherman is not on this list. Now, is Sherman important to the success of the 49ers? Yes. But he's going to dominate. Like, we know Richard Sherman is going to be okay. We do not know if Emmanuel Moseley is going to be fantastic this year, despite the fact he played well in the playoffs and will start at cornerback opposite of Richard Sherman, unless he stinks in training camp, which is very, very unlikely overall. So, with that being said, with a cornerback as good as Richard Sherman, one of the top cornerbacks in the National Football League, quarterbacks will turn their attention to Moseley's side and will throw to Moseley more often than not. So the hope is that Moseley can step up, dominate, and be a huge key factor in the 49ers secondary going into the 2020 season. He has a lot of pressure to build off what was already a very good and very successful latter half of the 2019 season back during the Super Bowl run. Number 5, DEEBO Samuel. Despite the injuries, despite the fact that he played so well last year, DEEBO Samuel has a lot of pressure and is very, very important to the 49ers' success. He is truly the most experienced and best wide receiver on the 49ers roster, despite being in year number 2, right? He has 1 year underneath his belt, and he's already supposed to be the number 1 mentor, the number 1 wide receiver on this team. And yet he's going to miss the majority of training camp, if not all training camp, due to the foot injury. So he has a lot of pressure. He has a much more difficult offseason, but he needs to be the dominant wide receiver that he was toward the latter part of the year, hopefully to lead by example for the younger guys like Brandon AIYUK and Kendrick Bourne and Trent Taylor and Jalen Hurts. So he needs to be out there. Hopefully he is healthy, but he is crucial right now to the 49ers' success overall. Now, drop me a like quickly before we get you into the final 4. Drop me a like down below if you guys love the 49ers. That's simple. If you love the 49ers, you love this channel, you love me covering the 49ers, give this video a thumbs up. Want to see how many thumbs up we can go ahead and get down below. Final 4 of me. 3 are obvious, 1 is not. We'll start with an obvious one, George Kittle. Now, he could be higher because right now, if you ask anyone not named the 49er fans who the face of the franchise is for the 49ers, they'd probably say George Kittle just because he absolutely dominated last year. Now, he's waiting on the contract. We talked about the contract a lot, and the hope is they can sign him for less than $15 million a year, but that will be... I guess we'll wait and see what happens with that overall, but regardless, he is still an important factor on this offense, despite the fact that tight ends are not that crucial in the National Football League. He is built into this offense in terms of blocking, in terms of receiving, in terms of every aspect of the Kyle Shanahan-led system, and so he needs to have a good year, and he is crucially important going into the 2020 season. Hopefully, he can go from being one of the best tight ends in the NFL to the clear-cut number 1 tight end as I see him, but not as seen, obviously, from the rest of the national media. Now, if you think George Kittle will hold out if he does not get a new contract, give me a Y down below in the comment section. If you think he'll play regardless, type N. I think he'll get a new contract, so it's kind of an irrelevant question, but if he doesn't, would he play? That's a question I have for you guys here right now. All right, here's the controversial one in the final 3. It's Dee Ford. You say, Thomas, why is Dee Ford one of the 10 most important players on the 49ers? They have a fantastic list of pass rushers and defensive linemen. Overall, Ford is not that important. The answer is yes, he is. And the reason is because, 1, coming off injuries, only played 22% of the snaps last season. But 2, he's costing like $14 million in cap space right now that could be used for other positions, other players, or George Kittle. So he's costing a lot of money, didn't produce a lot last year, and yet has a lot in terms of expectations. He needs to be healthy, he needs to play a lot, and he needs to play very, very well because of how much they are paying him. He's got to step up going into 2020 because, again, when on the football field and healthy, he's one of the better pass rushers in the National Football Football League, and obviously a great combination and a great pairing with Nick Bosa, who is probably next on my list, so tight for that. But he's got to be out there. He's got to be healthy. I think he's crucial to having a complete pass rush for the 49ers and not just a one-sided, Nick Bosa's important, and then Dee Ford's injured. Both of them coming up to the quarterback will make all the difference there on the defensive line, which, of course, is already one of the best in the National Football League. Okay, next player on our list, obviously, opposite of Dee Ford, just hinted about him, Nick Bosa. Now, this one's easy. The final two to me are very, very easy. Nick Bosa, the second most important player on my list because he's going to dominate, right? Like, he's going to dominate. He should dominate because he dominated his rookie year. He had an absolutely flawless rookie season from a pass rushing standpoint. He was healthy. He had production. He didn't get in trouble with the media. Everything was right in terms of what Nick Bosa did last season on the football field. And right now, he's going to be the best pass rusher on the 49ers, but can he become the best pass rusher overall in the National Football League? That's a real possibility, and he can do that by leading from a sophomore standpoint, much like Deebo Samuel, and hopefully vaulting this 49er defense from top 3 in the league to the clear-cut number 1 defense in the entire National Football League. Again, great last year. The stats were great last year. The hope is overall he takes that next step, and maybe it's 15 sacks this year, maybe it's 16 sacks this year. Anything above 13 is a massive year for Nick Bosa and a big dominant year as well. All right, number 1 player, this should be easy. There's no debate here. Most important player on the 49ers, as the most important player is on every single football team, is the quarterback, right? You're not going to win if you don't have a good quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo has got to be good this year, has got to be a lot better than he was last year, despite the fact he played very, very well and got the Niners to a Super Bowl. Yes, could the Niners go to the playoffs with a quarterback not as good as Jimmy Garoppolo? Yeah, the defense and the offense are just that good. But Garoppolo's success is what's going to get the 49ers past just the first round of the postseason, into the second, third, and obviously into the Super Bowl as well. He is the most important player. All he needs to do is do exactly what he did in 2019, minus a couple of interceptions, and he'll have a great year. I mean, minus a couple of crucial interceptions late in football games against big teams and big games. He cuts that down. He's going to have an absolutely great year. Can probably be a Pro Bowler at the very, very highest level. He was good. Cut those, get that down to like 9 interceptions overall, and I think the media will finally embrace the Jimmy G effect, the Jimmy G mania that is sweeping through San Francisco. Hopefully that is the case in the end. All right, there you go. There's my list. How'd I do? Let me know what you guys think, how I did in the comment section down below. And also, quick reminder, if you still need a new jersey for the 2020 NFL season, we have you guys covered right now. Most of them are on sale, up to 25% off. Chatsports.com/49jersey. Link is down below in the description box. All the time we have for today here on the 49ers Report. I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.